Welcome everyone to our 10th International Women's Day Breakfast and our second virtual event. I'm pleased to be your host. My name is Diane Wilkinson, and I am a member of the Cambridge chapter of the Canadian Federation of University Women. The Canadian Federation of University Women is a national, nonpartisan, nonprofit, self-funded organization with over 7,500 members across Canada. CFUW was founded in 1919 and has been advocating to improve the status of women through the promotion of human rights, public education, social justice, and peace. With over 100 clubs, CFUW advocates on local, provincial, national, and international levels, as well as awarding scholarships annually to help women pursue educational opportunities. Funding for education for women is the key to gender equality, economic prosperity, better health outcomes, and to end childhood poverty. CFUW holds special status with the United Nations. CFUW Cambridge was founded in 1954 as the University Women's Club of Galt. Our members have leveraged their education and training towards successful careers and volunteering in the community. The Cambridge CFUW, in partnership with the City of Cambridge Celebration of Women, would like to thank you for joining us to honor the accomplishments of women in our community. The past 2 years have been difficult, and our resiliency as women and community members has been challenged again and again. It is, however, through these challenges and adversity that we learn perseverance and determination. International Women's Day allows us an opportunity to celebrate the determination of women. The theme for 2022 International Women's Day is Break the Bias. With efforts across Canada and in fact the world, we all need to contribute to a society where diversity, equity, and inclusion are at the forefront. I would like to now introduce Mayor Catherine McGarry. Mayor McGarry will bring greetings from the City of Cambridge and share with us some thoughts about the Cambridge Celebration of Women.
Good morning, and thanks, Diane, for that lovely introduction. And I'm Mayor Catherine McGarry, and on behalf of the City of Cambridge and City Council, I welcome everyone to this year's International Women's Day Breakfast. Thank you again to the Canadian Federation of University Women for continuing with this really important event. International Women's Day provides an opportunity to highlight the fact that everyone has a role to play in forging a more gender-balanced world. As a municipality, the City of Cambridge works every day to break the bias through our Women in Leadership Committee, our Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Accessibility Services team, and the very many male allies within our city staff and organization. All of us play a role in forging gender parity and challenge conscious and unconscious gender bias. On a personal level, I've had the opportunity to challenge gender bias. When I was elected as the member of Provincial Parliament for Cambridge in 2014, I was the first woman to represent this riding since Confederation. And I didn't even know that until someone pointed out on election night. But it was my roles in the Ontario legislature and at the cabinet table where I found these roles were not usual for women to hold. I was the fourth woman since 1867, for instance, to be appointed as the Minister for Natural Resources and Forestry, and the third woman to hold the title as Minister for Transportation. I can tell you many stories of eye rolling and incredulous looks in meetings, or when I was a keynote speaker for a male stakeholder roomful. And when I entered the room, often as the only female, I could sort of sense this. But as a woman, I felt I needed to learn my files well. I wanted to do a good job. And so I often broke their perceptions of women talking about moose hunting, bear hunting, fishing regulations, aggregate resources, softwood lumber, and road building in Ontario. But to their credit, sometimes they would compliment me later or say they thought I knew my files better than some male ministers that they had met. But wouldn't it be great if we no longer had to face these issues as women, and that we were truly gender equal throughout Ontario? That's a Cambridge, that's an Ontario, that's the kind of world I want to belong in. So together, we break the bias. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor McGarry. I'm also pleased to introduce to you Councillor Donna Reid. Councillor Reid is a longtime advocate on women's issues and supporter of International Women's Day. Welcome, Councillor Reid.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Diane. And I just wanted to talk a little bit first about the Cambridge Celebration of Women. And that's a program that Council accepted my idea back in 2012, where I work with a community group or groups and present programs for 3 historical days of importance to women. Of course, we're experiencing one today as the International Women's Day. But we also will be having a program on Charter Day in April. And Charter Day is when the women's rights went into the Charter in 1985, 3 years after the Charter came to Canada. And so and the third day is Persons Day in October. But back to the April day, we will be supporting the Waterloo Region Women's Municipal Campaign School on that particular day. So, but today is International Women's Day, and I'm partnering with the University Women as I have for the last 10 years. This has been a wonderful run that we have had. And I really look forward to this day when it comes, because it's one of the highlights of my time as a counselor, that I can bring these kind of programs to our community. The Seroptimists also had a day on Saturday, March the 5th, that was very successful around the theme, Break the Bias too. So this theme is a wonderful theme this year, and it's certainly in keeping with what is happening in our society, in that we are trying to recognize Black women and Indigenous women and racial biases, and try to eliminate those, and also bring equity to LGBTQ2 people, and of course gender equity. So it's really important for all of us to recognize the biases that exist in our society, and I call on all of us to be part of the movement, and call it out when you see it. Call out the biases when you see it. Sometimes it's very hard to do, but it really is dependent upon us to do that. So I want to help us establish a level playing field for all women of all stripes. So join with me, support that, and as our mayor said, break the bias. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. I'm now really pleased to introduce to you our featured speaker, Dr. Winnie Lee. Dr. Lee is currently the Chief of Staff, Chief of Diagnostic Imaging, Assistant Clinical Professor, and Radiologist at the Cambridge Memorial Hospital. Dr. Lee holds an Honours Bachelor of Science, a Master's in Science, a medical degree, her FRCP, her CHE, and her CPE. This long list of academic accomplishments is just part of Dr. Lee's story. Dr. Lee is a true leader in our community. Please join me in listening to her message as we celebrate the power of women and breaking the bias on this International Women's Day.
Good morning, everybody, and really thank you for having me here. I mean, it's what a wonderful event. Feel so privileged to be amongst strong women like yourselves, who I know all of you are breaking the bias in everything that you do. I think I'm just one person, and I think it's the collective that, you know, we're going to move the dial as we move into the future. So my story is very unexpected, I would say. It's been a very long journey. People ask, how did you get here? Thinking that it's a very simple road to school, university, medical school, and then working in a hospital. But it starts really from the beginning. People ask, how did you know you were going to be even a doctor? Surprising as it seemed, I actually knew that I was going to be a physician at a very young age. Perhaps it was all those doctor toy kits that I received as a child that made me gravitate to the idea of helping others through medicine, the idea of problem solving or making the diagnosis. But you have to recognize back then it was uncommon for females in medicine. It was a male-dominated profession, but I was lucky. I was influenced by those around me, and I think that's really what has happened throughout my journey, is to have people who encouraged me. So when I was young, I had a multi-generational family together, and it was my youngest uncle who was accepted into medical school very early on that ended up in a career in diagnostic radiology, which is what I do now. And so as I had those influences, I realized I really wanted to be like him. I really wanted to be the one that was making the diagnosis from a few simple films. I wanted to understand anatomy, physiology, and I was inspired. And that is the key along the journey for everybody. You need inspiration, and it could be from watching others, it could be in the moment, but it was inspiring to me. And I never lost sight of that. When I decided that I was going to pursue medicine, and I will say in grade 6, I already knew I was going to be a radiologist, that I held steadfast to my goal. And even though it didn't fit the mold of what perhaps, anybody thought I was going to be, I persevered. And I was really grateful for all of that energy and the push to do what I wanted to do. Never felt that I couldn't do it. Now, having said that, when the time came to go through university, through all the training, I can tell you it wasn't easy. I was definitely a minority culturally, but also being one of very few women in the profession, it was really challenging to, again, be the different one in the mix. Medicine is now come a long way. We're closer to 50-50 with male and females, but when I was in medical school, it was uncommon. And diagnostic radiology was even a less common specialty for women. And so I can tell you there were many, many times that I thought I couldn't do it, that I probably wouldn't get into medical school, or I wouldn't get into the field that I wanted to do, despite my passion. But I did. And I think that's the thing, is to never let go of the fact that you can do it. I completed my medical school at the University of Toronto. I completed my residency at the University of Toronto. I've been very, very lucky to have worked at other institutions through research. I've done research at Harvard Medical School in Boston. I've been to a number of places where I've expanded my experiences. And I think that's really important, is to always challenge yourself, whether it be personal, professional. It's important to keep moving forward. And so as I came into medicine, and I can tell you when I first started radiology at Cambridge Memorial Hospital, I was one of 3, and I was the only female, which was no surprise, because there were graduating very few female physicians or radiologists at that time when I was coming out of school. And I've been very lucky with the team that I work with, that really, treated me and accepted me as an equal, as a professional. And on top of that, I have been so blessed to have landed here in Cambridge with as staff at Cambridge Memorial Hospital, because it is this hospital, this organization, this community that has allowed me to showcase what I am able to offer, allowed me to contribute back to the community that has accepted me as one of their own. So I've been very, very blessed with that opportunity to do all the things that I can do. And initially it was simple as just working as a radiologist, just being part of medical professional staff. When I joined in Cambridge, we had very difficult time we struggled to recruit for radiologists. And so to be providing a stable team, a stable service was really a groundbreaking for us at that point, because we were really in a lot of we had a lot of challenges in providing diagnostic radiology services. And since then, we've more than doubled our team. We've grown services beyond what we thought we would at the organization. And I think that's the thing is that, we had a goal. We worked as a team. We were collaborative. It didn't matter what, background, male, female, it really didn't matter. It was about having the same goal at the end. And so it was as simple as just being part of the staff. But as you mentioned, Diane, I've been very lucky. I've had amazing support within the community and at Cambridge Memorial Hospital, had amazing mentors along the way, and has really allowed me to, be a leader in whatever way that I thought I could contribute back. And that's the thing I always tell my young leaders, is that a leader doesn't have to have a name. A leader just needs to be able to rise up to the occasion and do what you need to do. You have an idea, go with it. It doesn't require the title. It doesn't require the accolades. I think it's about showcasing what you have inside you to share with others. And so that's really what I see in terms about breaking the bias, is that it doesn't fit a mold. If you ask others, nobody ever thought I was going to live in a smaller town outside of Toronto, which is where I grew up all my life, that I would ever be in a leadership role at all. I would never have thought that many years ago. But that's the thing, is don't have preconceived ideas of what you can and cannot do. So even as I go through my journey now as a leader at Cambridge Memorial Hospital, it's about reinventing what you think you can do in that role, right? Obviously, the pandemic has challenged what we can offer and what we do, and I think that was really pivotal, right, for me. It was a lot of self-insight as to how I could, champion some of the things that we were doing in the pandemic, how we were able to, collectively move forward. There's no playbook. I keep saying there's no playbook to any of this, and you have to really just look to see where you fit in that entire space. So I've been very lucky as well at home as well, with a husband that's very supportive, parents who have never, second guessed what I wanted to do. It was very challenging when I first moved here in Cambridge, because I just had my second daughter. My older daughter was 3, and I had her during training, which was at that time a really big faux pas, sadly to say. And I had a daughter halfway through my residency training for radiology. And then I had my second child just as I was finishing my subspecialty training in Toronto, both of which were never done before. It is very common now, but it wasn't back then. And then to move to a city where I did not know anybody and I had no family, and to have 2 young children, I was very lucky. I had, a supportive community, supportive organization, and of course, a supportive husband. Because without that, I don't think I could have started a practice, moved a family, and established myself as a working, colleague and physician. Some others have asked, how do you do it all? How you have your professional life. What do you do on the personal side? And I think that's the thing about breaking the bias, is that you really can do it all. It's about really taking the time for balance. And I actually don't use the term work-life balance. I always say it's work-life integration, because it's, that puzzle is different every day, how you're going to build and fit everything in. And for me, it's about variety, about taking the time to put it all together, and it somehow works. I will share, I work, I'm at the hospital, I do things in the community, but people wouldn't know that, I'm a dance mom on the side. I have a daughter who's a competitive dancer. I do makeup, eyelashes, things that, that keeps me on my toes, because I love being a mother. And that's the thing, is that I feel like I can do it, because I find that balance somewhere in my day. I think it also helps you temper all the things and all the challenges that you face. Because if you don't have that variety, then it becomes, very fixated on one thing, and you realize there's a lot more to life than just the one. And so the children balance me, the family balances me, all their activities, whether it be volleyball or piano, or, those keep me on my toes. It makes it all that much more, interesting, without feeling that, you're only putting all your eggs in one basket, and you're able to keep your day moving along. So I think it's really a culmination of learning how to, we say, break that glass ceiling, but also balance with what you're true to yourself. Is that, at heart, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and everything else I do outside of that is equally important, but I am able to do it together. And I think that's what also allows me to give perspective to each of those roles. So, as I, really help lead the COVID response with the rest of the organization in my position, we treated it as a family, right? The pandemic, COVID, this is how I saw everybody rise to the occasion, because we saw it as our family, no different than we would with our children, with our loved ones. I saw it as a means of, coming together and finding things that were going to protect us and to keep our communities safe and allow our community to have access to their healthcare needs. And I think that's exactly it, is learning from each of those roles and applying some of that, because, God forbid, I would never want the same to happen to my family. So, that's sort of how I saw our response to COVID, with all of these waves. As frustrating as some of those waves were, and how challenging, and I know we're just coming out of one, needless to say, it was very emotional for me for many of it, because it was like my own family. So yeah, I think it's the culmination of all of that, learning from your past experiences, to come to where you are now. So the journey has been, I will say, a rocky road. It wasn't straight and narrow. For many people, they know that I've come in and out of various leadership positions at Cambridge Memorial Hospital as the need arises. And I think that's exactly it. It's to know where you can offer your expertise, your help, your support, in the best way possible for the community.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. for sharing your amazing story with us. You stand as a true example of the power of women and how we can strive to break the bias for all individuals going forward. You never cease to amaze me with your optimism, your professionalism, your leadership. And I have the privilege of working with Dr. Lee as a member of the board at the hospital, and you amaze me every single day. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so empowered to be amongst people who want to break the bias with me. I think it's amazing that we have this collective now. I wish so much that this was there when I was younger, and I'm so grateful that this energy and this drive is here for women. As a mother of 2 daughters, I think this is so inspiring for them and for me as a mother. So thank you.
Thank you again, Winnie. It's been a pleasure. Annually, CFUW Cambridge provides scholarships to local women for continuing education. In the past 5 years, the club has awarded over $38,000 in scholarships. 2 scholarships are awarded each year to local women entering their 2nd year of university. Our recipients are Mia Stampatori, who is attending the University of Guelph, studying biomedical engineering, and Kayla De Silva, who is attending McMaster University, studying medical radiation technology. One to keep your eye on there, Winnie, potential recruit for the future. 3 scholarships are awarded each year to 3 mature students attending Conestoga College. The recipients are Tracy Marchand, studying Health Office Administration, Valerie McLean, studying Social Service Worker, and Lashai Pearson, also studying Health Office Administration. We are also pleased to introduce to you the Marion Parkinson Award. Marion was a long-standing member of CFUW Cambridge who, through a generous legacy donation from her family, we have established an annual award program for local high school students who are planning to attend studies in concurrent education. We are pleased to announce the following winners: Chantal Lapierre from École Secondaire René de Galinée, Ella Post from Galt Collegiate Institute, Kira Martins from Monsignor Doyle, Lily Marjorie from Southwood, Jamie Pava from St. Benedict's, and Alexis Cerny from Glenview Park. We are also excited to introduce a new award for 2022 in partnership with the Literacy Group of Waterloo Region. The Literacy Group provides opportunities for learning for adults in our community who are looking to improve their skills and ability in English, math, and computers. Learners attending the Literacy Group come from all ages, backgrounds, and abilities. An annual award will be given to a female learner who has attended the Literacy Group for a period of a year, who is pursuing further education, and who has demonstrated a commitment to learning. We will introduce our first award winner at the 2023 International Women's Day event. Our scholarships have been made possible through the generous donations from you, our members, and your continuing support of this International Women's Day event. Thank you so much for allowing us the ability to provide these awards for women in our community. All of our scholarship winners are an inspiration to our members and supporters. COVID-19 has continued to challenge us all, especially those attending educational institutions. All donations received from today's event will be directed towards our scholarship fund. Donations can be made through the scholarship tab on our CFUW Cambridge website, at Canada Helps, or via check to our treasurer, Anne Grew. Details were included in the email you received regarding this event and on posters advertising the event. Charitable income tax receipts will be available for all donations. Door prizes will be drawn on March the 22nd from the names of those who have generously donated to this year's event. The winners of the door prizes will be notified by email. We would like to thank at this time our partners and sponsors, the City of Cambridge, Scotiabank, the Galt Country Club, Integrated Financial Services, and Farm Boy. Special thanks to our International Women's Day event committee members, Susan Garlick, Anne Grew, Kathy Shearhart, Cheryl McGinnis, Janet Huber, Barb Lee, and Kathleen Schrum, our committee chair. Your commitment demonstrates the CFU value of the power of women working together. But most importantly, thank you for joining us to celebrate International Women's Day. CFUW Cambridge remains committed to advocacy and education within our community. Please consider joining our club. Information on becoming a member can be found on our website, www.cfuwcambridge.wordpress.com. Let us all go forward with a sense of commitment and determination to make the world a better place for everyone, through one thought, one word, one action at a time. We look forward to seeing you in March 2023 to again celebrate the power of women. Thank you, everyone, and be well.